I can't believe I'm flying a B-2 Bomber. This is really awesome. It just brings back a lot of memories, Abby. I know you weren't around when I was flying this thing around as a kid, but it's really cool to see that profile in the air. Here's full throttle. Oh man, I don't know what happened there. I'm genuinely extremely excited to be featuring this B-2 Bomber on the channel, and it's mainly because the first plane that I ever grew up flying was a Walmart version of this bomber. I grew up here on this active runway flying with my best friend Matt. He and I both had the same plane, and we have thousands of flights on that thing, so this thing hits home hard. Now the funny thing is, it does look a bit smaller actually than my Walmart version. It should be way more capable because this thing is packed full of awesome technology, and we're going to go over a few of those things in today's video. Now the keen eye, most of you that fly planes should notice this invisible clear plastic vertical stabilizer in the back. That's actually not absolutely necessary. They say if you want to do more highly aerobatic maneuvers, then you want to have that on, but if you are just going to cruise around in safe mode, you can leave that off. So I really do want to put that to the test and make sure that it can actually fly like that. Now I've got this thing here with a hand hold because we can do a hand launch on that. It's got a spot just for nice hand launches, but it does come with optional landing gear, so we're going to put that to the test today. I'm a little bit curious about the low clearance on those wheels. I suppose if you don't have much clearance at all, you can just take these pressure fit side panels that are decorative off very easily. They thought of a lot of things with this plane, and I'm very excited to fly it. Now if you're curious, it does fly on a 3S 850 milliamp smart battery with that slightly proprietary IC2 plug. I love those plugs, but they are a little bit proprietary. I am surprised that they didn't opt into 4S because that's a twin 30mm EDF, and I think that it will need the power, but hopefully I'm wrong and we'll have a lot of fun on that 3S battery. Now here's a very cool thing that'll be debuting on our channel. This is the NX7E Plus Black Edition. How appropriate with a black stealthy B-2 Bomber. And man, it's awfully bright out today. I couldn't see anything without my sunglasses, and I surely couldn't see my screen without my sunshade that I made, linked in the description box below. Super affordable. I'm excited to see this thing fly, so let's put it in the air and have some fun. Abby, it's 90 plus degrees out this morning.
Let's go.
We are cooking, so let's fly.
Hit like for the video.
I'm wondering if those things are gonna scrape. I think they're doing okay. Uh-oh, I think my canopy might be possibly popping off. I'm gonna fly by. It looks amazing though. Now, just like the Blackbird, the SR-71, this one's gonna be very hard for you to track, Abby, because it is very small and low profile. I think that canopy's popping off. So the wire for the battery is actually pushing on that, so I'm going to land it really quick. Yeah, it's flying nice and scale. Let's land it and make sure that wire is secure. Oh, okay, there we go. See, it's popping off in the back, so
I see that.
A lot of contact.
Better?
Better. Kind of an extra long wire there, and it was just pushing up on those little magnets, so here we go. It'd be bad to lose that on a maiden flight. Full throttle, there's our takeoff.
Much better.
Nice and smooth. Very scale, very, very scale. We're gonna keep it in safe for just a minute because this is an odd thing to fly. Very cool though. I can't believe I'm flying a B-2 Bomber. This is really awesome. It just brings back a lot of memories, Abby. I know you weren't around when I was flying this thing around as a kid, but it's really cool to see that profile in the air. And man, I'll try to keep it close just so you can actually film it. Now remember, this is without the vertical stabilizer. I wanted to see how it would fly without that because in my opinion, you know, it takes away the scale look big time. When you have that thing on there. Now from a distance you probably can't see it, so we'll put that to the test. If not in today's video, definitely eventually we'll put that to the test. I have a couple other things that I want to test that I've kind of got planned for another video for this anyway, because it does have some extra bells and whistles that well, I'll just save that for another video. So in safe, that's hands-free. It flies extremely well, nice and scale, looks the part. You know, it sounds like a micro EDF. I am giving a little bit of rudder input on that bank so it can turn a bit faster, but that's because I'm in safe. So now let's turn safe off. See if we can give it a roll. Oh yeah, there we go. Nice roll. That's cool. So definitely going to be more maneuverable out of safe, but also I'm a little bit afraid just because it's a little wonky of a flyer. It's not your traditional airplane. It's wild to see a triangle, a flat triangle flying through the air. I'm sure there are, oh, yeah, I'm going back to safe.
What just happened?
I don't know, just
like fluttered.
Yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
There's a lot of challenges, aerodynamic RC challenges to make this thing happen, to fly. You know, it's not got your main wing, fuselage, tail setup as most airplanes do. So really, honestly, genuinely, to see this thing flying without that vertical stabilizer, small like this, it's very, very impressive. I'm flying today in about 6 to 7 miles an hour of wind. Let's do a slow pass. I do prefer right now flying it in safe, honestly. Out of safe, it felt not great. But in safe, it feels like anything else I've ever flown in safe. I do prefer to give it a little bit of rudder input on those turns, but you can see if I give too much, it slips. So I wouldn't say this should be a person's first airplane. I do want to try also flying this probably in another video without that landing gear on, hand launching, and there's a few things that I want to talk about with it. But as far as assembly goes on this airplane, it basically is a UMX airplane. I don't think they're claiming that it's UMX, but I'm saying it's a large UMX. It's just like the Draco. I don't really know what they're doing now to distinguish the difference between legit UMX and not UMX. I'm flying it high so we can get that bomber scary pass. You know what I mean? Here. You want to see it like that's what we see flying over football fields or kind of doing its thing, right? Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. There's zero throttle. People like to see zero throttle tendencies, stall tendencies. That's no input, now some elevator, and now some throttle. And that was nose into the wind. So again, I don't know what they're doing to distinguish between UMX and non-UMX, because this has those micro servos that people, they love them because you can have a plane like this, but also people hate them because they're micro servos and they do have life expectancy. And then also it has the same binding procedure as any other UMX plane. So you plug the battery in, you press and hold your button, and it's bound with safe already programmed in and everything, as long as you're flying on a Spectrum transmitter. So again, I don't know why it should just be called the UMX B-2 Bomber. And that's, in my opinion, that's what it is. It's also flying on those IC2 plugs, which something else, let's talk about. I say this in every video that we have these batteries. I love the IC2, IC3, IC5 plugs. I think they're the best out there. They have the best fit. They're generally waterproof. They're just really, really, really good plugs. They don't seem to wear out over hundreds of uses. And so I think UMX and E-flite should always lean into that. And that's what they chose to do on this B-2 Bomber. But sometimes they choose to release their planes with JST plugs or even just the balance lead. So I'm not sure what the decision factor is when they decide to do that. But this one has the IC2 plugs. Like it or hate it. I actually like it because they're really, really good plugs. All right, so let's crank it down the runway at full throttle. This is not a bad airplane. It doesn't feel underpowered. I was worried that it would on 3S. I still think 4S would have been the right way to go, but here's full throttle. Oh man, I don't know what happened there, but I think the wind is just slipping me around. I'm getting some wind. It doesn't like the wind without that vertical stabilizer, so let's put the nose into the wind and let's crank it down the runway this way. Oh man, it doesn't like that. I'm in safe. It doesn't like that at all.
All right, you should probably land.
I think I'm going to land. So I think we're just slipping. I've got to land nose into the wind. So I think we're just slipping around because we don't have our vertical stabilizer. That seems to probably be what's up because this is such a unique airplane. So we're going to land it here before we crash it. Oh yeah, okay, well that was all right. I think the lack of the vertical stabilizer is definitely something to consider when flying in wind. For safety's sake of the airplane, I think that's going to be where we call it. That was about a 4-minute flight anyway. I do plan on doing some more with this plane in the future with that vertical stabilizer on. In the instructions, when I unboxed it, I was like, oh man, really, that's what that's for, the vertical stabilizer? I thought, oh, that's a little bit of a letdown. I thought it flew without it. And so as I read the instructions, it does say you can fly it without it, and I just proved that you can. But what I didn't consider was like maybe 6 to 7 miles an hour of wind on those banks. You have to realize this thing is just slipping through the air. On a straight pass, it's doing okay. And I have to imagine that these are acting as a vertical stabilizer too under the plane. So that probably was helping. Maybe the only thing that really helped me stay straight and narrow at all and keep the airplane in the air. But in the future, I'm going to fly with that vertical stabilizer on, and unless you're flying in a calm evening or calm morning with 0 wind, I would recommend that you guys most likely fly with that vertical stabilizer too. But we're going to do a follow-up video with this to show you hopefully a higher performance. We're going to have stronger wind later, showing you guys a little bit more capabilities out of this airplane and a couple tricks that it has up its sleeve too. But this, for a maiden flight, I think went fairly well and brought back a lot of good memories from my childhood. Again, I've been dying for the last decade to have a decent B-2 bomber just because that's what I learned to fly on the Walmart version as a kid. And man, that thing had the long antenna with the little red ribbon on the end. You know, it was so much fun. I wish I still had that thing. Okay, so clearly I didn't crash this, right? A lot of people were wondering, where is our B-2 bomber on day 1 release? Because for the last decade or so, we have had our E-flite UMX stuff on day 1 releases. And so people were saying, well, Nate must have crashed his and didn't post the video. And I hope that by now, I think 99% of you guys know that if we crash something or there's a problem, we're going to be very transparent with you and let you know what that problem was or is or whatever. That's not the case. We left a comment, a reply to a comment about 2 months ago, and someone at the company where this is from didn't like that. So this is legitimate, I don't care really, but they said that we were being punished to not get this on day 1. So, you know,
and same with the next release after that.
Yeah, yes.
Last year when they did this too, when they punished us for what, having, they didn't like our MiG video,
I can
right?
tell you. So the UMX ME262 video, I literally just said, we got this in the mail. We decided to fly it because we thought it was releasing in 2 days, because that happens sometimes. And the person that's in charge of the planes just didn't like that. So since then, we've just had a series of quote unquote punishments, and Abby and I are just tired of it. For transparency's sake and just for the morality of our channel, we are just choosing to take a slightly different path on how we do our content. And hopefully you guys appreciate that. That's really it. So if that does mean something to you, we would love to have you sign up on our Patreon page. We have had that there for years, and we are so grateful to everyone that has supported us, and are so grateful for you considering to support us moving forward. We are still going to absolutely put products on our channel, no matter how we get them or when we get them, or if we buy them, because of your support. And so we are super, super grateful. This is a very cool plane. I'm so glad that they did this. It's unfortunate that like Motion RC beat them to it with the giant version, and then they came out with a little version after that. But it's still unique. Everybody complains about E-flite and Horizon Hobby just repeatedly doing the same thing over and over and over. And they do, they really do. P51s and turbo timbers left and right, up and down all the time. So here's something unique and different. It wasn't the best flying thing in the world, but man, it looks the part, and I gotta give them credit where credit is due. So if you want to support our channel and family at no extra cost to you, this is linked in the description box below where you can check it out for yourself. We will also have a transmitter linked down there, because you can't just buy this alone. You have to have a transmitter to fly it as well. And those batteries that we're flying on that are pretty much proprietary to this airplane, they do work on other things too, but you can't just use your collection of batteries unless you have those smart batteries already. So we'll link everything that you need to get this in the air in the description box below. I'd like to say a massive thanks to God for everything. We have done this channel for 10+ years, and it's because of him. It's because of you watching. It's because of the energy and effort that we put out to do our videos. But I can't deny the blessings that we've seen repeatedly from him. And to him, I'm so grateful from the bottom of my heart for everything in our lives. I know it seems weird, but I'm also grateful for the things and the people that aren't in our lives too. Because sometimes he protects us from things that we don't realize he's protecting us from. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful, blessed day and appreciate just being able to open your eyes and just having the day ahead of you. So we're so grateful for it all. On the subject of gratitude, I want to say a massive thanks to our Patreon supporters, because we couldn't do what we do as often as we do it without your insanely awesome support. Now, if you want to see more sweet RC content, we'll have a hand-picked video popping up right about now just for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you there.
Bye.